All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're talking about what it really takes to build an inclusive classroom. And I mean really inclusive. This is about so much more than just teaching. It's about creating a space where every single child can truly, genuinely thrive.
I love this quote from educator Megan Hickey because it just nails it, right? Being an educator is an adventure, one that's constantly pushing you to grow and see the world differently, both inside and outside your classroom walls. And that journey brings us to the big question, the one we're all trying to answer. How do we go from just having a classroom full of different kids to creating a real community, a place where every child feels seen, valued, and understood, where they just know deep down that they belong?
Well, the answer might surprise you. It doesn't actually start with the children. It starts with you. Building an equitable classroom is, first and foremost, an inside job. It's all about developing your professional self. This really boils down to three key pillars. First, being self-aware enough to know your own limits and needs. Second, being passionate enough to find what genuinely lights you up about teaching. And third, being educated, committing to always learning.
Let's talk about passion. For Megan Hickey, her thing was American Sign Language. She brought that passion into her classroom with infants and toddlers, and wow, it was a game changer. It wasn't just some cute activity. It gave these little kids a real way to communicate, which cut down on frustration for literally everyone.
And that leads right into self-awareness. Let's be real, this isn't an office job where you can just step away for a coffee when you're feeling overwhelmed. It's constant. That's why taking care of your own mental health and actually asking for breaks when you need them isn't a luxury. It's absolutely essential. You've got to be at your best to give them your best. Okay, so once we've started working on ourselves, we can turn to the classroom environment. And this is a big one. We have to be really careful to avoid what some people call the tourist trap, moving past those superficial celebrations and towards something way more meaningful. So what is this tourist approach? You know what I'm talking about. It's when we treat culture like a special event. We might have a festival day or try some different foods, but it's always presented as this special one-time thing. The problem is that can shrink these incredibly rich cultures down to a few simple objects. And it subtly teaches kids that those cultures are other, not part of the everyday norm.
These images are a perfect example. Having a piñata just for one day, or hanging a dream catcher on the wall without any real context, it can feel tokenistic. The intention is almost always good, but if these things aren't woven into the daily fabric of the classroom, they just stay on the surface.
And here's the difference in black and white. The tourist approach on the left treats culture like a thing you pull out of a box. But culturally responsive practice? That's about integrating culture into everything. It's not just celebrating. It's about looking at our own assumptions, disrupting them, and genuinely empowering families. That column on the right, that's our goal.
So how do we get there? How do we actually do that? Well, there's this really powerful way to think about it all. It's a framework called windows, mirrors, and sliding glass doors. And it's just a beautiful and super practical way to build that sense of belonging.
First up, mirrors. Every single child deserves to see themselves reflected back in their classroom. In the books, on the walls, in the toys they play with. A mirror sends one of the most powerful messages a kid can receive. You are here, you matter, you belong. But it's not enough to just see yourself. Kids also need windows. Windows are chances to look into the lives and experiences of people who are different from them. A window builds empathy. It teaches a child that their way of seeing the world isn't the only way, and it makes them curious and respectful of others.
And finally, the real magic happens with a sliding glass door. This is when a book or an activity is so immersive, so powerful, that a child feels like they can actually step right through the window and into that other world. That's where true connection is born.
And all of this, the mirrors, the windows, the doors, it's all in service of equity. This picture explains it perfectly. Equality is giving everyone the exact same box. But look, that doesn't work for everyone, does it? Equity is giving each person the unique support they need to see over the fence. That's the foundation of the classrooms we want to build.
Okay, so we've got the personal foundation, and we've got this amazing framework. Now let's get practical. How do we put all this theory into practice, especially when we're supporting kids who are learning more than one language? Now this is huge, and it's backed by so much research. One of the single best things you can do to help a child learn a new language, like English, is to support their home language. A strong foundation in their first language doesn't slow them down, it actually gives them a launch pad. Let's just bust this myth once and for all because it's still out there. Learning 2 languages as a young child does not cause confusion. It does not cause delays. In fact, it's the exact opposite. Bilingualism is a superpower. Supporting both languages actually helps kids learn English faster and better.
So here's what that can look like in your classroom. You start with what the child already knows in their home language. You use your whole body, gestures, actions to connect new words to meaning. Small groups can feel a lot safer for taking risks, and having really consistent routines helps free up a child's brain power to focus on learning. And this work absolutely cannot stop at the classroom door. Partnering with families is everything. When you actively support their home language, give them fun activities to do together, and just build real, trusting relationships, you create this incredible bridge between home and school that a child can walk across with confidence.
This whole journey, from working on yourself to changing your classroom to partnering with families, it all leads to one final crucial role: the educator as an advocate.
And this really comes down to 2 things. First, be vocal. Your stories, your real-life experiences from the classroom, that's the stuff that changes policy. And second, be accountable. You have to take charge of your own learning. If the opportunities aren't there, go find them. Find what sparks your passion and then bring it back and share it.
And that brings us right back to the beginning. Megan Hickey found out that her voice, her story, actually mattered. The people making big decisions need to hear from you. Your daily challenges aren't just anecdotes. They're the most important data we have to build a better future for our kids.
So we'll leave you with this question. This isn't about redesigning your entire classroom overnight. It's about taking one small, intentional step. So what is one mirror you can add this week so a child feels truly seen? Or one window you can open to a whole new world? What's your one thing going to be?